At daughter's welcome, my's female's gift made snap. Chapter 1. At my daughter's baby's welcome party, my husband's female friend handed me a cash gift envelope. Inside was a used condom. Grace, during your postpartum recovery period, Ethan has been taking care of his needs with me. Seeing my face turn pale, she let out a snicker. Grace, don't worry. I never let him finish inside. Afraid you'd be disgusted, I protected him carefully for you. Grace, you really owe me for this. Ethan is so intense. Look, he even gave me dark circles under my eyes. Seeing her smug expression, I instantly understood. So this was why during my postpartum recovery period, Ethan hadn't visited me once. I bit my lip, silent. My brain felt oxygen deprived, a wave of dizziness washing over me. In the tense silence, Ethan suddenly reached out and tugged open Chloe's collar, pointing to the red marks covering her chest. He smirked playfully. You have the nerve to say that. Someone like you has no feminine charm at all. I only touched you reluctantly. At least you're cleaner than the random women out there, right? After saying that, he turned back to me, looking for praise. Wife, I'm completely devoted, honestly. I'd rather find an outlet with a friend than cheat with a stranger. Don't you think you should reward me? Completely devoted. Honestly, every word felt like a slap, hitting me hard across the face. My smile was bitter, tears welling up in the corners of my eyes. Ethan, however, seemed oblivious, and went back to bantering with his female friend. He even reached out and grabbed a handful, right in front of me. Tsk, look how flat you are, like a runway. I don't know how I managed to bring myself to touch you for the past month. My wife is much better. Chloe looked indignant. You have the nerve to criticize me. If it weren't for our friendship, who would bother serving you? They acted as if I didn't exist, groping each other shamelessly in front of everyone. I stood among the guests, my face ashen, enduring their pitying stares. Eventually, Ethan reached his hand inside. He feigned concern and began to rub her. I've been too excited these past few days. Couldn't control my strength, and left you with these marks. As your friend, let me give you a massage as an apology. He called it an apology, but his face showed pure enjoyment amidst the suggestive laughter. I felt like I was plunged into an ice pit. Only one thought echoed in my mind. This rotten marriage, this nauseating husband. I wanted neither of them anymore. Trembling, I pulled out my phone to call my lawyer. Ethan shot me a sidelong glance, then suddenly pulled his hand away and, with a straight face, patted Chloe's shoulder. But seriously, I really have been rough on you lately. Look at those dark circles. You look hideous. How about this? I'll have my wife buy you a designer bag as a thank you gift. Before I could react, he snatched my phone away. I almost choked on a bitter laugh. A thank you gift. While I was pregnant and giving birth, they brazenly carried on their affair. They publicly shamed me by cheating on me, and they expect me to thank them. Why should I? No one cared about my feelings. They huddled close, heads together, using my phone to pick out gifts. My voice trembling, I spoke. Ethan, give me back my phone. Chloe gave me a smirk, then pretended to be embarrassed and nudged Ethan. It's just a small favor between friends. Don't make Grace spend so much. Ethan didn't even glance at me, and immediately ordered the most expensive, limited edition designer bag. The delivery address was Chloe's. That was the bag I wanted, but had always hesitated to buy. Before I went into the delivery room, I jokingly asked him to buy it for me as a reward for giving birth. He, however, impatiently tapped my head. What are you thinking? It's just having a baby. How could you ask for such an expensive designer bag? Are you out of your mind? Did you lose your brain during childbirth? You have no idea how to manage a household. Now, spending my money on his female friend. He was happier than anyone else. All the humiliation and injustice flooded my heart, unable to take it anymore. I screamed and hurled the red wine glass in my hand at them. Ethan, I told you, give me back my phone. I'm divorcing you. You have no right to spend my money. Chapter 2. As the wine glass flew, Ethan instinctively shielded Chloe in his arms. Chloe also grabbed his head and desperately pressed it against her chest. The moment his lips touched Chloe's chest, I was so disgusted that I trembled all over. After everything quieted down, Ethan, his face cold, threw the phone at my feet. That's enough. I didn't cheat. Do you have to be so furious? The screen shattered into pieces, just like my once sincere and passionate heart. I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. Not cheating? What more do you need to do to call it cheating? Do you have to use no protection and get someone pregnant for it to count as cheating? Ethan, don't you think the two of you are absolutely disgusting? Ethan looked at me as if I were insane. Grace, are you suffering from postpartum depression? If you're sick, go see a therapist. And stop acting like a lunatic in front of me. You haven't let me touch you since you got pregnant. Chloe is my friend. What's wrong with her helping me out? If you don't like it, stop pretending to be so pure, and let me take out my frustrations on you. He said it as if it were the most obvious thing, as if I were the one in the wrong. I wanted to scream, to question him. A torrent of emotions choked in my chest, and finally erupted in uncontrolled tears, seeing me gasping for air from crying. Chloe pinched him hard in the crotch. What are you talking about? Grace just gave birth. How can she relieve your frustrations? She grabbed my hand, a look of feigned guilt on her face. Grace, don't get upset. Ethan and I are just having a purely physical release. There are no feelings involved. It will absolutely not threaten your position. Besides, if I truly wanted something with him, you two wouldn't have made it to marriage and having a child. If you really mind, I'll make a promise today. I'll never let Ethan touch me again. And don't argue with Ethan anymore. I'm genuinely apologizing to you. She kept saying she was sorry, but her words carried the arrogance of someone superior. It made my stomach churn. I screamed and yanked my hand away from hers. Get away from me. Don't touch me. You're both utterly filthy. I barely used any force. Yet she staggered back and fell hard onto the floor. Her palm landed precisely on the shards of glass scattered across the floor. The moment blood welled up, Ethan's eyes turned bloodshot. He raised his hand and slapped me hard across the face. Grace, I think you've really lost your mind. It's one thing to insult me, but Chloe sincerely apologized to you, and you actually attacked her. Do you have any conscience at all? His slap was full force, twisting my face. My lower back hit the edge of the table hard, and the still healing wound from my C-section ripped open, sending searing pain through me. I covered my face and laughed until tears streamed down. I insulted him. It was I who was insulted. He didn't understand the hardship of my 9 months of pregnancy, nor did he care how excruciating my C-section was. I nearly died giving birth to his child, only to be met with such humiliation, the injustice of betrayal, the searing pain from my wound, and the shame of being struck in front of everyone. Each feeling pushed me closer to a breakdown. When he publicly swept his female friend into a bridal carry, my sanity instantly vanished. I wanted to rush over and pull them apart, but my legs gave out from the pain, and I could only helplessly grab at him. Ethan, don't go. My wound feels like it's ripped open. It hurts so much. I can't move. Can you please take me to the hospital first? My voice was trembling with anxiety. In response, I got nothing but a scornful sneer. Look at you. Where do you look hurt? You're acting like a lunatic. Stop making a scene and let go of me. Don't pretend it's real. Do you think I don't know you're just jealous? If you delay Chloe's treatment, I swear I'll divorce you. Chapter 3:3. My eyes red, I glared at him intensely. If looks could kill, he would have been torn to pieces by me then and there. Noticing my icy stare, Chloe finally struggled, as if just realizing she should. She gave Ethan a playful, feigned slap. What nonsense are you spouting? Grace would never joke about her own injury. Ethan mischievously pressed his hand against her chest. Dare to move again, and I swear I'll have my way with you in public. All right, stop messing around. You're so badly hurt. How can you go to the hospital by yourself? Besides, you're my friend of over a decade. Who could be more important than you? He jutted his chin out at me, a defiant gesture. The disdain in his eyes completely shattered me. I clung to him tightly and screamed like a maniac, give me the car keys. I bought this car. Don't let that tramp get in my car. Ethan's face instantly changed, and he gritted his teeth, shaking my hand off. What's yours and mine? Don't you understand what marital property is? What right do you have to be yapping when you can't even drive? I have a share in this car too. I'll let whoever I want use it. A malicious smile played on his lips. Before leaving, he didn't forget to harshly shove me aside with his elbow, precisely aimed. It hit my lower abdomen, blood trickled down my legs, and my heart completely died. Ethan didn't look back once, leaving like a knight carrying his princess. With trembling hands, I dialed for emergency services. When the ambulance took me to the hospital, I coincidentally ran into Ethan. Our eyes met, and he instinctively pulled Chloe into his arms, his face full of impatience. Grace, are you a dog? You can't even trust me to accompany Chloe to the hospital. Do you have to follow us? I said nothing, just stared at him coldly. His gaze dropped, and when he saw me covered in blood, a flicker of panic crossed his eyes, but his words were utterly cold. Even if you're jealous, there's no need to hurt yourself this badly. How amusing, when he was the one who deliberately hit me like this, to get back at me, now he was questioning me about it. I let out a cold laugh and turned to leave, but for once, he chased after me and hugged me as if to comfort me. Grace, no matter how you look at it, you were wrong today. Chloe kindly brought a congratulatory gift. Who would be thought you'd go crazy on the spot and even injure her? I feel for you being hurt too, but Chloe's family isn't here, and as her friend, I should actively take care of her. Before I could speak, Chloe's pained cry came from behind me. Oh no, my hand is bleeding again. Aren't you going to help your friend up? I'm afraid of blood. Ethan quickly let go of me and rushed over, his face full of concern. He raised his hand with practiced ease and pinched Chloe's butt. You're so dramatic. You didn't say you were afraid of blood last time when you made a mess of the bed with blood. I covered my mouth and involuntarily gagged aloud. The person I had loved for so long was actually so repulsive. In fact, there had always been clues. But every time I sensed something was wrong, Ethan would furiously lash out at me. We're just friends. Pure friends? Do you understand pure friends? I think your heart is so dirty that you see filth everywhere. Do you only feel satisfied if I follow you around like a dog? Don't think your family's petty cash can control me. If you can't stand my friend, then stop clinging to me. But it wasn't until today that I truly understood. Apparently, friends can share a bed and still be innocent as long as there's no landing involved. After a moment of silence, I dialed Robert's phone directly. Robert, I want a divorce. Send some people over immediately. If doesn't agree, then beat him until he signs. Chapter 4. After my wound was race-stitched, I dragged my exhausted body back to the mansion, but the moment I opened the door, I froze. Ethan and Chloe were on the sofa, joking and wrestling, completely oblivious to anyone else. Perhaps they were too engrossed, as they didn't notice my presence. Chloe's top was hiked up to her chest, her bra was askew, and her partially exposed breasts rested against Ethan's embrace. Their lust-filled expressions pierced me sharply. In the heat of the moment, Chloe knelt before Ethan, her body trembling. She looked up and met my icy gaze. She screamed and clutched her chest, then sprang to her feet. Grace, don't misunderstand. My bra just came undone, and Ethan was helping me fix it. I couldn't help it. A laugh escaped me. These despicable two must truly think I'm a fool to help you fix your bra. Do you need to be kneeling beneath him? If I had come back any later, you probably would have stripped his pants off. Ethan's face was extremely grim. Grace, do you have to be so rude? Since you don't trust me, then let's just get a divorce. I'm your husband, not your pet dog. You're watching me so closely, you might as well put me on a leash. I didn't become hysterical as before. Instead, I smiled calmly. All right then, as you wish. Let's get a divorce. Ethan paused for only a moment. Then a cold sneer appeared on his lips. Are you insane? Making such a fuss about a trivial matter and demanding a divorce? I think you lost your mind along with giving birth. No sooner had he spoken than Chloe reached out, hooked his underwear, and snapped it with force. Don't you know Grace just gave birth? And this is when she's most prone to drama? You dare to talk back to her? What if she actually divorces you? Ethan put his arm around her shoulder and laughed provocatively. What's there to be afraid of? You know as well as I do how long she fawned over me before she finally got me to marry her. She's just all talk. If I really divorced her, she'd throw a fit, cry, and make a huge scene. He was convinced I loved him deeply, but he didn't know that even the most passionate heart could turn cold. I didn't want to get tangled up with them, and turned to go upstairs. Chloe, however, suddenly grabbed me, and hooking Ethan's neck, pushed him towards me, and then playfully bit her chest. Then reluctantly leaned in to kiss me. I was so disgusted that I vomited on the spot. Ethan, his face cold, pushed me away, his eyes full of disgust. What are you pretending? You reek of mom's smell. I'm the one who should be throwing up. He didn't look at me again, and walked away with his good friend. I didn't care at all, and went back to my room to rest by myself. In the middle of the night, I was woken by a jarring ringtone. An unknown number had added me on WhatsApp and sent me a video. The video was secretly recorded, featuring Ethan and his shady friends. They were gathered together, playing truth or dare. Chloe lost, and someone mischievously suggested she reveal the most outrageous thing she'd ever done. She covered her lower abdomen, her face flushed with feigned shyness. I lied today. Ethan couldn't resist lately, and he finished inside me every time. We even have a baby on the way. Ethan said if we're going to put on a show, we might as well go all out, and he couldn't let me down. So in a couple of days, he's going back to her hometown with me to propose to me in front of all our relatives. Amidst the laughter, someone nonchalantly clapped their hands. What's so special about that? Everyone already knows about you and Ethan, don't they? Give us something more exciting, otherwise, you'll have to strip. A hint of malice suddenly appeared in Chloe's smile. When I left Ethan's house just now, I put a few peanuts in his daughter's mouth. The entire room gasped. What? Ethan's daughter just had her baby's welcome party, didn't she? Aren't you afraid of killing her like that? Everyone looked at Ethan. He took a sip of the wine in his glass and laughed with extreme composure. What's the big deal? My wife knows first aid. Even if the baby swallows it, she can find a way to get it out. My mind exploded, and my entire body trembled so much I could barely hold my phone. The game continued, but I couldn't hear a single word, only stumble towards the nursery. The moment I opened the door, it felt as if all the blood in my body reversed course. My daughter lay quietly on the bed, her tiny face swollen and purple. As I picked her up, my fingertips were trembling. What I felt was nothing but icy cold. My daughter had died silently on the day of her baby's welcome party, while her murderers were still joking on the screen. This toast is to our friendship. May our true feelings never end. Holding my daughter's cold body, I sat numb until dawn. In the early hours of the morning, Ethan sent me a message. Wife, a good friend of mine is proposing, and I need to help him out, so I won't be back for a few days. Please take care of the baby. I'll make it up to you both when I get back. As I stood stunned, 2 stretched Hummers pulled up outside the door. Robert's 10 bodyguards were ready. I wiped away my tears and placed my daughter inside a large gift box. Then I found my lawyer and had him draft a divorce agreement that would leave Ethan with nothing. I also called the police and uploaded the video of Chloe confessing to the crime onto the internet. After doing all this, I got into a Hummer, tears streaming down my face. So, a proposal. And true feelings that never end? I hope my congratulatory gift is something you can both handle. Chapter 55. On the way there, my phone kept buzzing with text notifications. They were all spending alerts from the bank. This proposal, though called an act, Ethan was treating it with absolute sincerity. He bought over a dozen cases of top-shelf whiskey, 7 or 8 designer bags, and several sets of gold jewelry, all paid for with my credit card I gave him. In just one morning, he had spent over $200,000 of my money. Unable to bear it any longer, I called the bank directly and demanded they freeze his credit card. Shortly after, Ethan's call came through. I pressed the answer button, and his furious roar almost burst through the phone screen. Grace, what are you doing now? What right do you have to cancel my card? I smiled calmly, waking up to find $200,000 missing. My not calling the police is already being incredibly lenient. I thought he would at least offer some explanation, but he didn't. He still yelled, self-righteously. Call the police for what? I'm spending marital property. What's the problem with that? I'm warning you. Restore the limit right now. Don't force me to sue you. I was so infuriated I laughed out loud. Sue me? He must have a misunderstanding about what marital property means. Over the years, what he spent of mine was far more than just $200,000. Shortly after we got married, he said his friend needed to borrow money to buy a house, and he swiped $500,000 from me without batting an eye. Only later did I find out that his so-called friend was Chloe. $500,000, almost half the down payment for a house. He was certainly generous, just lending it out. Too bad that money has never been returned to me. Ethan and I had been married for 5 years. And he had forgotten our wedding anniversary countless times, but he never forgot Chloe's birthday. He even remembered the anniversary of their first meeting perfectly, and Valentine's Day. Even on solemn occasions like King Ming, find an excuse to send Chloe gifts to calm her nerves. It's laughable. I was his wife, yet I never even received a single bouquet of flowers. It's not that I hadn't questioned him, but each time he would become extremely impatient. All the money is yours. Can't you just buy whatever you want? You have to insist on someone else giving it to you. You're so dramatic. Only today did I understand. He simply didn't care about me. Thinking of all this, my voice uncontrollably trembled. All right, then we should sue. It's about time we settled the messy accounts between us from these past few years. Ethan was so stunned he couldn't speak for a long time. After a long silence, his cold scoff finally reached me. If you're sick, go see a therapist. I can't be bothered with you. Without giving me a chance to retort, He hung up the phone, my fingertips slightly trembling. I touched the gift box beside me and smiled a desolate smile. It was all my fault for being blind, for loving the wrong person back then. Not only did I endure endless humiliation, but even worse, it led to my daughter's death. With trembling hands, I picked up my phone, scrolling through photos of my daughter, wanting to see her one last time. But I accidentally opened my social media feed. My gaze fell on Chloe's latest social media post, and I gasped, my breath catching in my throat. She was sitting in the car I bought, wearing jewelry bought with my money, with my husband by her side, smiling radiantly. Only a true friend can be this reliable, huh? The way to deal with pressure to get married is to blind my relatives with money. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming surge of hatred. The pain I suffered could be overlooked, but how could the person who killed my child be smiling so happily? I clutched the gift box tightly, pressed my face against it, and said with fierce determination, "Don't worry, my baby, mommy won't let them get away with this. Hell is empty, and I'm sending you all to it." Chapter 6. Chloe's hometown was over a 3-hour drive from the city. Most of it was muddy, unpaved roads. I remembered when Robert and my mom were still in the country. The mansion they lived in was only a 10-minute drive from Ethan and me. Yet he always said it was too far, and never once came with me to visit them. Now, he didn't seem to mind the distance. He truly loved Chloe madly, willing to go through fire and water for her. I just wondered if they would remain as devoted when disaster struck. As soon as we reached the edge of the small town, I couldn't help but freeze in place. The display was truly grand. The entire town was packed with people, making it impossible to pass. The 2 stretched Hummers I brought were stuck outside the town, unable to move. Without much hesitation, I put on my sunglasses and a mask, and got out of the car, carrying the gift box. I stood far from the crowd, watching the festivities that weren't meant for me. Flowers carpeted the path from one end of the town to the other, and gifts were constantly being carried in. Each item overflowed with love, a testament to Ethan's true feelings. Only, this love was built upon my suffering, and this sincerity was bought with my daughter's life. I clutched the gift box tighter, feeling utterly cold beneath the scorching sun. It wasn't until cheers erupted around me that I snapped back to reality. Ethan and Chloe appeared, like a prince and princess from a fairy tale. He held 999 roses, and she smiled like a blooming flower. I vaguely recalled that when Ethan proposed to me, he hadn't prepared anything. Even the flowers he used for the proposal were casually plucked from a vase in my own house. Seeing this scene now, my heart was unexpectedly calm. There was no joy or sorrow, not a trace of sadness or injustice, only a surging hatred, churning endlessly within me. As walked past me, I even let out a laugh, so happy. For once, I truly hope you're both ready to go to hell. The proposal ceremony was long and elaborate, and I waited patiently until Chloe, with tears in her eyes, uttered, "I do." Amidst the cheers, I laughed until tears streamed down my face. "You do? What right do you have to say I do? A proposal, huh?" I object. I pushed through the crowd of onlookers and, flanked by bodyguards, walked towards the couple. Without much preamble, I slapped Chloe directly across the face. She was stunned by my blow, clutching her face, at a loss. Ethan, however, became frantic, and raised his hand to grab my collar. Before he could touch me, he was stopped by the well-trained bodyguards, unable to move. He could only roar in impotent rage, his eyes bloodshot. "Who are you? I'm proposing today. Do you really have a say in objecting?" Seeing this, his group of friends also rolled up their sleeves, ready to charge at me. Even the villagers were agitated, shouting for me to get out. The bodyguards tried desperately to hold them back, but they were ultimately outnumbered. I watched as the surging crowd surged towards me. I wasn't in a hurry at all. I just raised my hand and took off my sunglasses, then yanked off my mask. "Excuse me, but I actually do have the right to object." I gave a nod, and the bodyguards immediately escorted me to a dumbfounded Ethan. He opened his mouth, wanting to explain, but I didn't give him a chance to speak, and kicked him directly in the crotch. "Ethan, you can certainly propose, but did you ever ask for the opinion of me, your actual wife?" As soon as I said that, the scene erupted like a boiling pot. What the hell? Is his fiancé a married man? Didn't she say she was pregnant with his child? Does that mean she knew he was married and still got involved? That girl, she's always been chasing after men since she was little. I always said she had no self-respect and would do something so shameless. The chatter grew louder and louder, and Chloe covered her face, breaking down in tears. The people who used to call her their friend now exchanged bewildered glances, unsure how to react. Ethan, meanwhile, clutched his crotch and screamed in pain. Grace, have you made enough of a scene? Aren't you embarrassed enough? I told you already. Today I was just helping a friend with a small favor. Did you have to come all this way to ruin it? Is there no end to this? Chapter 77. I can understand a cornered animal lashing out. But even now, he was still protecting Chloe so fiercely. And everything he said was aimed at making me leave. I clutched the gift box tightly, feeling an even deeper chill in my heart. Helping a friend. What kind of help requires you to go to bed with her? And the baby in her belly? Couldn't she find a single man to have a child with? Did she have to get help from you, a married man, to breed? Even pigs in a pigsty aren't as vile as you two. Ethan's face turned an ashen white, yet he still stubbornly refused to admit anything. What nonsense are you spewing? Grace, there's a limit to your irrationality. If you keep making a scene like this, be careful. You might not be able to control the outcome. The same old threats. But this time, I was fearless. I raised my eyes, staring at him unblinkingly, a mocking smile playing on my lips. Can't control the outcome? Since I came here today, I had no intention of ending it quietly. Seeing that I was unyielding, Ethan, unusually, softened his tone as if remembering something. He leaned in and whispered soothingly to me, Grace, be good. Go back and take care of our daughter first. I'll come back and explain everything to you after I'm done here. Tears uncontrollably streamed down my face. I took a deep breath and raised my hand, slapping him hard across the face. Ethan, you have the nerve to mention our daughter. She no longer needs my care, because, my darling, has been killed by you two adulterers. My desperate cry was like a heavy bomb, and the entire scene erupted in an uproar. What? Did I hear that right? Chloe could be so vicious, killing someone's child. If that's true, then she's a murderer, and our town can't have someone so wicked. The villagers once again became enraged, but this time, their anger was no longer directed at me. Someone, I don't know who, led the way, throwing the newly received top-shelf whiskey and cigarettes at Chloe. Others followed suit, cursing her as bad luck, and hurling everything they held at her. Countless wine bottles shattered around her feet, and the sharp edges of cigarette packs scraped bloody gashes on her face. Chloe cried out, rushing towards Ethan. Ethan, Grace is slandering me like this. Aren't you going to stop her? Ethan finally came to his senses. The veins on his forehead bulged, and unable to tolerate it any longer, he raised his hand. Grace, what exactly do you want? Just as his slap was about to land on my face, the bodyguards immediately surrounded me, blocking him firmly. I stepped back half a pace, and held out the gift box in my hand towards him. What do I want? My husband is proposing to someone else. Of course I have to bring a congratulatory gift. Open it and see. I hope the gift I brought is fitting for you two vile individuals. Seeing the unconcealed grief in my expression, Ethan suddenly realized something. He stumbled backward. What do you mean? What's in the gift box? I gave him a tragic smile. Inside, of course, is your child. From the day I got pregnant, you complained I was a burden. You found me troublesome, constantly having to take me to prenatal checkups. The day before I gave birth, the baby had no heartbeat. And you said I was imagining things. My water broke, and you said I wet my pants, blaming me for dirtying your car. After she was born, you complained about her crying even more, never once visiting us during my postpartum recovery period. Now, it's fine, she's dead, and you no longer have to be annoyed by us. Congratulations, you finally got what you wanted. Every word landed like a heavy hammer. Ethan's face was deathly pale, and his legs were so weak he could barely stand. What are you saying? How could our daughter be dead? I laughed, tears streaming down my face. How could she be dead? Didn't you feed her peanuts? That tiny peanut, which was just a harmless prank to you, was enough to take her life. You, and that tramp Chloe, you are all murderers. I'm telling you, don't even think about escaping. I will personally send you to hell, to pay for my child's life. Ethan could no longer stand, and collapsed weakly to the ground, his face deathly pale. He looked at me in disbelief. How did you know? And you know first aid, don't you? How could you let our daughter die? You're lying, aren't you? I'm telling you. Don't think this will make me forgive you. I'll deal with you ruining the ceremony when we get back. If killing didn't require a life for a life, I would stab him to death right now. But I didn't. I simply opened the lid of the gift box in front of him. Ethan screamed and instinctively covered his face. He wanted to avoid this sight, but I would never let him. I grabbed his collar and dragged him to the gift box, Then I motioned to the bodyguards, telling them to hold his head and force him to look inside the box. When he saw his daughter's tiny, lifeless body curled into a ball, his strained composure finally shattered. Ethan covered his face and broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. How could this happen? I didn't know it would kill her. I'm sorry, Daddy was wrong. I'm so sorry. Chapter 88. Honestly, his sobbing, sniveling appearance truly resembled a dog. I had no intention of letting him go. At his most helpless moment, I sneered, pulled out the divorce papers, and slapped them onto his face. He abruptly looked up, his eyes blurred with tears, staring at me. His former arrogant and overbearing demeanor was completely gone. Now, he was like a lost dog. Grace, I truly know I was wrong. Please don't divorce me. A divorce now would be sending me to my death. He knew that without me, he would have nothing. Even if he somehow escaped legal punishment, he would never be able to maintain his current respectable image. Ethan trembled all over, reaching out to grab my hand, but I kicked him in the chest. I looked down at him, my gaze colder than ever before. You don't seriously think I can pretend nothing happened and live peacefully with the person who killed my child, do you? If you refuse to divorce, that's fine. There are many ways to make someone disappear, and I don't mind letting you experience them all. He saw the seriousness in my eyes and naturally knew I wasn't just threatening him. After a long silence, he knelt before me, trembling, and began banging his head against the ground. He thought I was still soft-hearted, like before, but this time, even as he banged his head until blood streamed down his face, I didn't spare him another glance. Ethan's lips trembled as he tried to say something, but my patience had completely run out. I waved my hand, and the bodyguards immediately surrounded him, one of them landing a punch directly on his face. I had said if he refused to agree, they would beat him until he signed. The brutal, bone-jarring pain quickly became unbearable for him. I took a pen from my bag and tossed it in front of him. This time, he picked it up with hardly any hesitation. Good, after all, compared to money, he valued his life more. After securing the divorce papers, I didn't linger for a second, turning and walking away. Seeing me leave, Chloe, who had been cowering silently in the corner, finally rushed over to help Ethan up. Ethan, you'll be fine. You still have me and our baby, she pressed, almost greedily. Grace's family is very wealthy. You'll get a lot of assets from divorcing her, won't you? Ethan's face turned cold, and he gritted his teeth as he answered her. What money? That divorce agreement clearly states I'm leaving with absolutely nothing. If you hadn't constantly tried to seduce me under the guise of friendship, how would I have ended up with nothing? Fine, considering you're carrying my child, let's just make a life together from now on. I stopped dead in my tracks. After killing my child, they still wanted to live happily ever after. How dare they? Since I was already here, I decided to give them one last grand gift. I turned around and quickly walked back to them. Seeing me turn back, Chloe couldn't help but start cursing. You bitch, you're not regretting it again, are you? So what if you made Ethan leave with nothing? I'm still the one he loves. Besides, what right do you have to make him leave with nothing? Just you wait, I'll definitely find the best lawyer and sue you. Before she could finish, I raised my foot and kicked her in the stomach. After a scream, Ethan, eyes red with fury, lunged at me. Are you ever going to stop? I've already agreed to the divorce, and you're still hurting Chloe. If anything happens to the baby in her belly, I won't let you get away with it. He shielded Chloe, his face contorted with savagery. It seemed he had finally learned how to be a good father. Too bad. The child in Chloe's belly could never be his. I sneered, pulled out another document from my bag and slapped it onto his face. Ethan, do you still not know that you have severe oligosathanospermum? Your sperm has absolutely no motility, and without technological assistance, it's impossible to conceive a child with you. Back then, to save your pride, I hid this test report, and even spent a lot of money on IVF. You didn't really think there was something wrong with my body, did you? Congratulations, you successfully managed to be cuckolded. My words left Ethan completely frozen in place, his face pale. He stared at the report in his hand. After reading every word several times over, his expression finally changed. Chloe was also trembling with fear. Ethan, it's not like that. Don't listen to this bitch talking nonsense. Her response was met with a full-force slap. Chloe fell awkwardly to the ground, half her face already swollen. Bitch, tell me, who else have you been sleeping with besides me? I spent so much money on you, and my life is ruined because of you, and you dare to cuckold me, and even expect me to be cuckolded. Facing's almost cannibalistic gaze, she didn't bother pretending anymore. So what if I slept with other people? Who do you think you are? Those damn riches you spent were all your wife's money anyway. Didn't you say we were just friends? So what if I have a few more friends? A useless man like you, with such a small size. Do you really think I could truly love you? Her words hit Ethan where it hurt the most, making his eyes burn crimson. Amidst a chorus of jeers, he furiously grabbed her hair and slammed her head against the ground, again and again, each time with all his might. Chloe's piercing screams echoed relentlessly, but I couldn't be bothered to watch anymore. Picking up my daughter's already cold body, I left the scene without looking back as the car slowly drove out of the edge of the small town. A shrill siren wailed in the distance. I knew my justice was finally coming. My sweet girl, do you see? Mommy got revenge for you. The police are here, and Mommy has submitted all the evidence. The law won't let them get away with it. From outside the half-open car window, Ethan's heart-wrenching sobs drifted in. I closed my eyes, letting my tears fall onto my daughter's body. Vengeance may be delayed, but it is never absent, and I had finally been reborn. That's all for today's story. Thank you for listening. This is my channel. The tales I share drawn from life or woven from imagination are meant to offer you connection, reflection, and perhaps solace or newfound strength. If you long to see your own reflection in others' journeys, or seek a glimmer of light within the maze of emotions, subscribe to my channel. Listen with your heart. Explore the stories of life.